Hello all. I feel like I owe everyone a little bit of an apology. I didn't realize how awful the quality was on my old camcorder. It's just absolutely terrible. The sound's awful, and I'm dealing with a GoPro Hero with a wide angle, so I'm probably going to be shooting a lot of the the rest of the video for the build on this until I get an updated camera so that so that you aren't watching pixelated nonsense with me in the background, and you can't even see what I'm actually doing. So we'll be going through and shooting with the GoPro from this point on until I can get one that's not a wide angle or whatever, and do something that's a little bit better quality of video. So thanks for putting up with me. Couple things just to make note here. According to the previous owner, and he probably got told from the previous owner before that, this engine had never been broken down before. As I was draining the oil out, I kind of took a closer look at things. I don't think that this RTV here in between the housings and the irons is, I don't know if that's aftermarket or if that's the color it comes from Mazda. But I just kind of was looking at it and I said, I don't know. So maybe I'll throw that out there and maybe someone else can tell me just based on the coloration whether or not this has been tampered with or opened up before. Not like it's really going to matter all that much, but I just kind of noticed that around the oil pan here we've got a couple of spots of RTV and the coloration looks pretty darn close. So if someone did rebuild it, obviously they used the same RTV on both sides. I'm sure that Mazda probably would have done the same, but I'm not sure. Again, a couple other things of note. You have your standardized cutting of certain things in and throughout the motor, and just things that are just generally disconnected. For those of you saying, why are you lifting the engine with this? I can tell you that one of the bolts here was snapped prior to me owning it, and I just wasn't comfortable with one tiny little bolt holding up the whole thing. So yeah, I'm lifting it there until I get it on the engine stand, just so that I can kind of work on a couple things. I can also see that there are a couple of vacuum lines. They got a little bit of muck in them. I don't know if that's bugs or what's going on. And yeah, that's kind of just a little bit of an update. I'll get a closer look at the stock twins on here. I haven't really monkeyed around too much with those yet, or any of the intake for that matter, but the turbo does spin and it doesn't have a ton of shaft play, which is good. I haven't opened up the back side yet to see whether or not the back turbo has any issues, but the next step is going to be starting to take some of these peripherals off, and until I can get it on the engine stand, I'm probably going to have to focus on this side of things just so that I can, still have a place to hoist the engine whenever I need to. Hopefully I won't have to take off too much of the front side to get to the turbos and stuff, so that I can still have this guy lifted up, because being 6'2" and trying to crouch down on the ground and disassemble a motor isn't a ton of Okay, so clearly we've removed the twin sequential turbos. We are looking now. There's a ton of carbon buildup along the sides. That's probably not super normal. I don't know if I'll be able to show you guys. but there's just a ton of gunk in there. I mean, you can scrape it out with a screwdriver. It's pretty goopy in there, not gonna lie. I don't know if I should be nervous about that or not, but as I turn the motor, and I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not, but you can see the rotors coming through, and right there we have an apex seal, and I can see down inside, and there doesn't appear to be too much chatter or chrome flaking on the housings. I'm just going to continue turning this guy until we get to the next one. And apex seal there, which is good. And of course this is the back rotor, which means that's the side we do have good compression on, and there's just a bunch of oil in there. So we're probably talking, you know, oil rings or something to that effect. Let's move on to the other side here. I'll bring up the first side, and there is an apex seal there, again covered in carbon buildup and oil. We'll keep going here. There's the next one, also still has the apex seal intact. Let's try 6 for 6 here. And yes, so all 6 apex seals are there. So if we're losing compression on the front side of the engine, we're probably going to be looking side seals or the corners. We'll only find out once we keep tearing things down. So I'm probably going to focus on removing some of the front peripherals here and taking some pictures along the way so you don't forget where stuff goes. It's kind of a mess in there, but that's kind of what you get whenever you're dealing with a 25-year-old motor. So we'll see what happens here, and we'll just continue the quest. Okay, so far today we've disassembled the long block. We've got pretty much all the peripherals off and the oil pan off, and I'm kind of at a stopping point because I need to get the flywheel stopper to get the 54mm castle nut off and the the front nut off out of the E-shaft. So kind of at a stopping point until that comes in, and then after that we'll get it on the engine stand and dig into the internals. Not too much to note, except for in here there were 2 little they looked like injector O-rings that had these little dispersion tabs on them. I did take a couple pictures of the one that I got out that was complete, and the other one that it ended up breaking when I was trying to pull the O-ring out on the front side. But I don't know if those are necessary or if guys eliminate them, or their purpose is probably just to diffuse fuel and air as it comes into the motor. But definitely broke one of those trying to get it out. But everything else has been really smooth sailing, surprisingly. So I'm looking forward to disassembling the rest of the block and see what I can get into and get this thing on the engine stand. So it's very cool. I'm excited. Made a lot of progress today, and I'm just going to wrap things up and tidy up shop a little bit before wrapping things up. So be easy.